What's up, everybody? You know what it is. It's The Method. I'm your host, Javier. It's your host, AD. Today, we got some real hard-hitting topics that we want to discuss. First off, June is Men's Mental Health Month, so we're going to touch on that. And we also just had Father's Day last weekend. So, AD, I'm going to turn it over to you. Kick it off.
Like you said, this is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And that's a month that we think is very imperative for our daily life. But it just so happen that this is the month that is recognized. And that inspired us. Well, one of the things that inspired us to get this cast going and to have these conversations, not only just the month of June, but 12 months out of a year. And we have these conversations 365 days out of a year. So just for me personally, I want to talk about what Men's Mental Health Month means to me. I am extremely happy that we're able to recognize things of mental health awareness, because some people don't even think it's real. Let's just be honest with you. And that's where the problem comes in. Some people think that it's a hoax. Some people think that, you're just being mentally weak.
That's a common misconception, honestly.
It's a very common misconception. And when it's all said and done, what it lets me know the fact that there's a month now to celebrate this, or to not necessarily celebrate, that's the wrong word, but to recognize that this is what's going on.
We're going to celebrate it.
Kicking balloons, you know what I'm saying? But just to recognize it's a real thing is very important. And, when you sit back and I just try to reflect on stuff that happened back in the day, we didn't know what mental health or what mental health was, or whatever. We didn't even know what that meant.
Especially in our community.
Not at all. We thought that maybe you just was losing it, or...
No, you think about it. Not to cut you off.
Yeah.
When you think about mental health, you think about somebody that's on drugs.
Right.
Somebody that's really been through like real struggles in life, abuse, like something really drastic happened to them.
Yeah.
But people don't know that mental health is sometimes, like, I know for me, it was an accumulation of things that happened over my life, starting with my childhood. And it's a lot of things that just didn't make sense. And then once you get to a point as you become older and more established and trying to understand who you are, then you start really understanding just how some of your vices are actually more like coping mechanisms or safety measures. Like for anxiety, for instance, people don't realize that like I'll watch the same movie over and over again.
Me too.
You know why that is though? It's a safety measure because you know what's gonna happen. And that's why people with anxiety and such, it's like we protect ourselves. So like even if something simple as me watching Fast and Furious 8 times or Bad Boys 20 times, I could watch the movie, enjoy it, but I know what's gonna happen. And it's
I
just
never thought about that.
It is.
Okay, makes sense.
It is.
And it gives you peace because you've accepted what's gonna happen.
Yes.
So you don't mind indulging in it over and over and over again.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, because I do that as well. But I'm just very happy that we can sit back and have these conversations, because for a long time you couldn't say nothing.
Oh no.
Because of the way you were perceived based on your actions, your dialogue, even your get up, because all that is tied into mental health.
No, 100%. Because you said something about your get up, like our appearance.
Mm-hmm.
We are always trying to appear a certain way because we want to fit in. And honestly, saying I have anxiety or saying I need to take SRIs, which are mood enhancement drugs, or saying my mental health isn't good or I need therapy. What group are you fitting in with? Especially as a black man,
right?
Like as a man, period. I'm not even gonna make this about race, but as a man, period, you're not fitting into no group saying that you need help. Because we are the ones that are supposed to be the provider, the protector, and all that stuff, which we do all that. But has anyone ever stopped and asked, like, man, hey, are you okay? How are you doing? And I may have said this in a pod last month or whatever.
Repeat it.
But I had for one of my day jobs, I manage 12 locations. And one of the locations I went into was further out. The young lady, she asked me, she's probably a young 20-somethings, Hispanic girl. She's like, hey, how have you been? And it like broke, like it was just kind of like,
it was foreign language.
Yeah, it startled me. I'm like, I said, I've been really good. But it just, and I was having an okay day. It was just like a lot. I was on the road a lot. You know, two of my other businesses, I was trying to get off, get going and, things and such like that. Nothing personal, but just, it was a lot on my plate. But just her asking me that, it really meant a lot because but it also let me know just how much I'm not asked that question.
And also the way it made you feel. Now you say, you know what? I wouldn't mind reciprocating with others.
100%.
Not to say you don't, but I'm just saying the way it makes you feel, because a lot of times this thing called life, when you feel a type of way, good, bad, or indifferent, the emotions that we feel from said situation or question or whatever allows us to process and say, I want to make others feel this same way if it's something good. And if it's something bad, you say, well, I want to avoid that because I don't want to make people feel that type of way.
Right.
Also the mental health aspect as well. So with that being said, I'm comfortable with where we are right now, trying to progress from the lack of because of mental health. And I think we're making nice strides, very small, but I feel like for me personally, I'm in a better place today than I was a year ago.
Same.
It's not going to be leaps and bounds, but just from a mental aspect, because I always try to reflect back on things that we talked about right here on the cast. And I can sit back and honestly say, from cast 1 to today, there's been probably about 2 to 3 different things that I've consistently tried to implement.
Okay.
And not sure yet how much it's been better as a whole, but it's been better for me to look at it from a different lens from where I was. That helps me. So I'm a better man just today from day one of doing this cast.
Oh, same, because this is therapeutic.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I tell, our listeners, any guests, any supporters, when you like, I'm the type of person that my wife always says I'm a words of affirmation person. I never realized that when it comes down to your love language, but it's like when I like the recognition. I don't like public recognition, but just the person that matters. Hey, tell me you appreciate me and genuinely mean it. And then like, I like to be able to discuss how I'm feeling because like once I get it out, I feel so much better.
Right.
And being able to come in the studio and speak to you about it, speak to y'all about it. It makes it not just things that are in my head. It makes it my reality. And as I'm verbalizing it, it's like a release.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what more men need to be able to do. More men need to be able to have that release.
Right.
To say, look, man, I'm not okay.
Right.
Like I'm having a bad day, and not feel like them saying they're having a bad day that whoever they tell is gonna feel like it's their responsibility to fix them, or it's their fault, or they're gonna use it against them. Because I can tell you, and I may have said this before as well, when I first realized that my mental wasn't, I knew something was off because I found so much value in, like, I would switch cars. I probably switched cars like I switched women. It was just like, it was always something. I got bored with things really quickly. You know this about me. But I never really understood why I didn't feel fulfilled. I could be in a room of 20 people and feel alone. And I still get that feeling a lot sometimes. And I'm saying, I'm gonna say a lot, but I still feel alone sometimes when I feel like people don't truly understand me. But it's like, when I realized that I was just unfulfilled, that's kind of when it kind of hit me that, something was going on in my mind. And once I really started kind of digging into it, talking with my doctors and whatnot, I shared this with the person, and not a week later, that was thrown in my face. One person I shared it with, because it was embarrassing, and I had a good job. I had all the material stuff I could have wanted, which doesn't mean anything, but in my mind, that was success. But the one person I shared my struggle with, not even a week later, when we got into a disagreement, it was thrown in my face. So part of me is like,
was added to the issues already had.
Yeah, exactly.
You're being honest with them about what's going on, and then when you tell them, they're piling on to the issue that you told them what you're dealing with.
Yep. So, but part of me took it
advertently, inadvertently.
No, it was definitely advertently.
Yeah.
But part of me took it as, okay, you know what? I'm never going to give somebody that power over me again. So I started speaking to other people about, like, mental health and, medication and things, therapy and things like that. And I hadn't even done therapy. I didn't do therapy till years later. But I was trying to be a safety net for those that were struggling on the low, but I still wasn't open talking about my struggles. But then it was like, after I thought about it, then I became kind of bitter because it's like man, and I'm gonna have to go gender wise. Women can say they can. I don't care if it's their time in a month and they mental ain't right, premenopause, they hormones and all that, menopause, their hormones and all that. They got built-in excuses. I'm not gonna say excuses because that's disrespectful, but they got built-in reasons to have ebbs and flows in their mental. Men do too. When your testosterone drops, it affects your mood. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like men also have certain levels of estrogen that you actually need a certain level of estrogen to have in your system to keep you more leveled. If your estrogen is too low, you're gonna be a little more aggressive. And don't quote me on that. I may be backwards. Game Day Men's Health told me that when I was talking to them during the interview process. But there's certain things that go on with men's bodies that just don't go discussed, because it's like, to most people, we are machines.
Yeah. And I think you made a couple of valid points, man. And with that being said, I want to segue along the same lines when we talk about people around us that affect us, saying certain things, it affects your mental, stuff like that. So by this being June, and we already talked about what month this is, let's talk about Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, with everything you just said, how did Father's Day affect your mental health one way or another?
See, the crazy thing about Father's Day is, like, this Father's Day was really hard for me because it was my first Father's Day without my actual father.
Right.
So it low key hit me on Father's Day when I picked up my phone to do my normal text to him. And I'm like, damn, bro, gone.
Right.
So I just instantly, like, my release is working out. I went down to the lake and just jogged for a few miles. And as I was running, I was crying, bro, because I was just like thinking about my father.
Right.
But then after I cleared my head, like, my family, my baby boy took me out to lunch. My wife made sure I didn't have to do nothing. She got me a great gift. But I got 4 biological kids, and 2 of my 4 biological kids didn't even reach out to me via a text.
Right.
So that right there, it kind of stings a little bit, because it's like, for one, I've done nothing to you to not deserve a text, but it also shows, it reinforces that ideology of, I'm only as good as I can do for you.
Right.
Because if I get 2 days a year, I get my birthday and I get Father's Day. And truth be told, to me, Father's Day is more important than my birthday, because
I thought the same thing until recently. But go ahead, I'll elaborate on that when it's my turn. Go ahead.
But it's like, and the reason why I say that is because I feel like, I take pride in being a father. Being a father, I put myself last every damn day. And I just had, and I'll elaborate on that part later, because I'm gonna go in a different direction. But it's like, but to say, okay, this is a day that's celebrating fathers, I don't see commercials about it. I go in stores, I don't see balloons, and I don't see anything celebrating fathers. And it bothers me. It bothers me like crazy, because fathers are the backbone of society financially. I don't care, and I'm never going to discredit a single mother. I've been a single father, and I had many single mothers work for me. I will not discredit them, but I can only speak from my vantage point. But when I sit up here and I look at the amount of men that do step up and stay in their sons and daughters' lives, and then stepfathers that are staying in their stepkids' lives, and that don't always get the respect they deserve, it breaks my heart, because it's like, man, like, y'all gonna go to war celebrating moms, and we get peanuts.
You're right, man. And to go to what you said about Father's Day, when I became a father, and I told anybody that would listen, that was the pinnacle for me.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Being a father, Father's Day meant the world. I didn't care about birthdays, Christmases, none of that, man. Like, Father's Day was my day.
Mm-hmm.
As I got older, then you kind of realize maybe I'm only want to see it that way.
Uh-huh.
Based on action. When it comes to mothers, and it's just my observation. They are treated a type of way. I don't even know why. And when I say I'm not saying in a negative way, I'm like, man, I don't even know why. Like I look at myself, my household has been two parent from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
So where's the disconnect of one versus the other? And I look at how I treat my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And how I treat my mother is with the utmost respect. And she will co-sign that.
Mm-hmm.
And when Mother's Day came, you know, I didn't do much. But here's the difference. I celebrate my mother 365.
True.
You see what I'm saying?
True.
Same thing with my wife, who's another important woman in my life. I celebrate her 365. As a father, I don't get celebrated 365. I barely get celebrated one. You understand what I'm saying? So
oh man,
if I don't get some on Father's Day, but if you celebrate me 365, man, I ain't tripping.
Right.
Because it's not, but man, at this point, 2026, man, I'm at the point like, you ain't got to give me nothing because you ain't celebrate me no other time. And that's not all. They know who they are, the ones celebrate me, the ones that don't.
Uh-huh.
But when it's all said and done, y'all have seen me demonstrate how this thing works.
But you know what's crazy? If you don't mind me piggybacking
Go
off
ahead.
that, this conversation right here, a lesser person like y'all acting sassy, like y'all want to be treated like the females. Man. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. But the thing is, it's like, you know, like we'll laugh and joke
right there. But go ahead.
We'll laugh and joke about things, but it's true though. My thing is, no, I do want to be celebrated 365 because I celebrate them 365. Nothing's wrong with that. It shouldn't be mom, dad. It should be mom, dad. And that's the problem that we have. And that's why we are going to continue to move forward with this movement about taking back our happiness, taking back our respect. And we are more than just people that are going to be there to fix things or pay for things or, you know, be the backbone. Like, it sucks and I'm not speaking for myself, I'm speaking for men. It sucks to feel like you are only good as you can provide.
Keep talking. I'm gonna pull something up to go with what you're saying.
And I'm gonna keep it on the Father's Day, Mother's Day spending.
Yeah.
Statistics, and I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong, but I believe there's a 40% decrease in the amount of money spent on Father's Day than it is on Mother's Day.
Of course.
So my thing is, it takes two parents or two people to make a child, a mother and a father.
Yeah.
The mother carries the child. The mother goes through all the struggle. I got a daughter that just had a baby, so I watched it firsthand. It's a struggle to carry a child. 100%. Again, none of this is disrespectful towards the women, but you can't keep taking away the value of the man on our one day. And then, you know, I'm not even going to get into the amount of women that are single moms that are like, well, I'm the mama and the daddy, so this is my day too. Shut up.
Yep.
This ain't your damn day.
Yep.
Because we not saying that. I was a single dad for a few years. Mm-hmm. And I ain't never once. I had people joking, texting me Happy Mother's Day on Mother's Day. Nah, fam, I'm not their mama. I'm their daddy. You know. But the fact remains is that it's a sad reality that on top of, you know, June being Men's Mental Health Month, that we're having a conversation about Father's Day and the lack of support that fathers get.
Yeah.
When the only thing that, I mean, and we're not talking about the deadbeat niggas out there.
Not at all.
And it's a lot of deadbeat fathers, but guess what? It's a lot of deadbeat mothers though.
100%.
And they don't get no press. Deadbeat moms don't get no press.
Yeah.
You know, I know a few, but this nothing that we're doing on this podcast is to disrespect or like
diminish
anyone.
None of that.
It's to uplift the men that are struggling because we don't truly have support out there. A lot of us are alone. A lot of us are alone in our own homes. You know, like I've been there, I could say years ago, over a decade ago, I literally felt like home was a prison.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I know you've been there before.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I would do anything I could to not go home.
Yeah.
You know, because I knew once I got home, I was going to feel like the world closed on me.
It was crumbling down on you.
You know, and it's sad when you feel like strangers will show you more love and appreciation than someone that you've
Isn't
given.
that crazy?
It's the weirdest thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
But I've lived that life in my past where strangers would show more love and appreciation for me than the people that I literally gave the shirt off my back for.
Right.
You know.
And with that being said, and I'm still looking for this piece, I want to quote it just right. But with that being said, I sit back and first of all, shout out to the grandkids, man. They really made my day. You know, they really made my day feel special. And that means a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like earlier when you talk about your dad and Father's Day came, and you know, my dad been gone for a while now. And since 2007. And the last time I seen my dad was on Father's Day.
Really?
Yeah, that's the last time I seen him. Father's Day 2006. That's the last time I seen him.
Okay.
So, you know, that day means something to me as well, besides just the average. But trying to learn how to deal with trying to figure the right word. I'm not gonna say anger. I don't have any anger. I think I'm more disappointed because, and I had this conversation with my mother and my wife.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that I would have done differently, just because I felt like maybe I gave too much. I forced the issue when I didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Sign on the wall, you didn't want this, but I kept giving it. We really didn't earn it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Just because for me, not having that male in my life, it taught me to not have my kids feel like the way I felt.
Yeah.
So maybe I overcompensated. I'm not taking responsibility for the way things turned out because my intentions were nothing but greatness.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, when it's all said and done, me and my wife had these conversations too. We have it the whole year. I'm like, yo, man, they just don't celebrate me in. She didn't dispute it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, when it come down to Father's Day versus Mother's Day, it's night and day. And I would give her different examples. Mother's Day, like I would take her to different places each year, make reservations for this restaurant. You know, everybody and their mama going to eat.
Yep.
Father's Day come, you ain't got to make no reservations.
Oh,
you
no.
going in and sit your ass down and have a seat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no big deal. Just things we see on TV. One of the things I brought up too, as a former teacher, I said, listen, when Mother's Day came, man, almost that whole week, we celebrate the mother. We got to making stuff in the classroom, making cards, making, you know, drawings, artwork, yada, yada, yada. Take all this stuff home that Friday before Mother's Day, things like that. Luckily, Father's Day falls when there's no school. These are all things I think about, man. So
right, I never thought about that. I
thought about it all the time. Because when my kids were younger, I was yearning for that type of attention from like the school and other places where it's like, okay, Father's Day is here, so let's go ahead and do this, and looking forward to something coming home. I have none of that. None of that. Even when it comes to gifts, man, don't patronize me and give me some bull junk gift that, you know, just because you say you got something. Then when it comes to the women, y'all put some thought into that.
Oh yeah.
Y'all done saved money for the last couple of months and went and did this and saved up for that. But then when it comes to me, you barely want to buy a car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, man, come on, man.
I got a question for you, because you said something a few minutes ago. How do you, when you say you yearn for that attention, or that, I don't know if you said attention, but it's like basic recognition. How do you express yourself when you're trying to, like you can't say, look, I need more love. But how do you say it without saying it?
I don't, because when it's all said and done, at this point in the game, people are set in their ways. I've expressed it to my wife, but this year was the first year, and I'm gonna bring it full circle. This was the first year where Mother's Day, like I didn't get my wife a card. That wasn't intentional. But I wanted for once to not be the one to make her day. That's their responsibility. I have responsibility as well to, you know, have some part of it. Just like Father's Day comes. Normally she's the one that makes my Father's Day. She's the one that say, hey man, let's go get something to eat. Here go a gift. I bought you this. Here go a nice card. Yada yada yada. Normally she does that. I really can't sit back and say if I've had a Father's Day where my kids went all out, like, man, here you go.
Okay.
If it's been good, it's been because of my wife.
Okay.
I mean, mom sent me stuff too, but I'm just saying in my home.
Mm-hmm.
So even for Mother's Day, I got her a gift. I didn't get her a card. I'm gonna get her a card. I didn't get her no gift. We didn't go eat nothing like that. But I wanted to see how it was gonna turn out for her if I didn't go the extra mile.
Yeah. And how was it for her?
I don't know. I didn't ask her. Because that's about how you feel.
Right, right.
As opposed to what we see with the naked eye.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I know that I feel a sense of responsibility as this being my wife and the mother of my kids to try to make her day special.
Yeah.
That's my responsibility.
100%.
I tried that with her. I've done it with her mother before, multiple times, my own mother, so forth and so on. So I've demonstrated for years, this is what you do. Not only just the fact I'm taking care of my wife and my mother and stuff, but as a man, we supposed to take care of the women because that's what we taught and that's what we should do.
Yep.
And when that's not done and you see how this is demonstrated, you choose door number 2, well, we wonder why the struggles are where you at right now in life because you made a conscious decision. This is what I say. When you sit back, our kids, and take your kids the way they were raised in the house, 2 parents in the house, right? Morals and values. When you go against those morals and values, you're struggling in life right now because the morals and values is all you know. Now you're like a fish out of water.
Yep.
So the morals and values that I still demonstrate, I'm the guy that still hold the door. We go to the restaurant, we go to the store, anything. That's just natural for me. My mother taught me that. I never fought that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just certain things that I do for my wife, first and foremost, because that's my wife, so she's at the top of the food chain.
As she should be.
And then I do the same thing for my mother, whatever. When you see this demonstrated, and this is what you learn, you used to do this when you were younger, but then you become an adult, you don't do that stuff. You go against the grain. You wonder why your struggles are what they are in life because you choose to put yourself in a situation that you're not used to. But when we have downs, and that goes to the mental health, when we feel down, one of the things we can go back to keep us feeling good about ourselves is what's in our heart.
Yeah.
You talk about your dad, the stuff your dad taught you, and things like that. That's stuff you can always go back to. And that will make you feel good because that's who you are. When you veer from that, no pun intended, you know what I'm saying? Then all of a sudden, it's like, you feel like this feels weird.
No, I feel what you're saying. And it's just one of those things where I'm processing as you were talking.
Yeah.
And it's just like, keeping it on the 2 themes that we talked about was just, Father's Day and then, Men's Mental Health Month.
Right.
And I sit back and it's just like, sometimes I feel, you said overcompensate, early on. And I feel like, I've been guilty of that as well, where I try.
Why do we feel bad for that though? What, you know what I'm saying?
But no, I don't feel bad for it, but it's like my thing has always been, I don't care who you are. I treat those with the love I want to be treated with.
Right.
And but it's like, but when you feel like you're going harder for somebody than they're willing to go for you, it builds a resentment and anger.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, well, and that's why I kind of go back to Father's Day. Like, well, man, and it's never a tit for tat thing where I did this, you got to do this for me. But if my goal is to make anyone that's around me feel special, I want to feel special too.
I'm happy seeing you happy.
Exactly, and that's me. I love seeing my people win.
I don't want you to be unhappy because of me.
Yes,
I got a problem with that.
Same.
And not to cut you off, man, but what I've been looking for is something that one day we was at church, and this is 2016. I took
the
picture.
granddaddy glasses on.
I had to, man. Old Fred G joints, you know what I'm saying? So, Pastor had these things stacked up, these boxes stacked up. And this is what we're talking about right here. And he said, this is the order of life that you have to have for a successful household. And he pointed at the top in your household, got to be God.
Yep.
Second level, Christ.
Yep.
Third level, husband, father,
Mm-hmm.
wife, mother, then children.
Yep.
And he pointed to it and just showed what was what. And he said, if that's out of order, your home will be dysfunctional.
Yep.
Until that gets in order. And that's exactly 100% what goes on a regular basis, because that order has been flipped out of whack.
That order. People. I'm gonna say they, but they as women. They look at that as, well, why the husband come first in the house? The husband's the head of the household. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Why is that even debatable? Because when it's all said and done, the husband is going to be the one that bears a brunt of the stress and the heavy lifting, that the mother will never have to feel that stress. The children will never have to feel that stress.
We won't allow it.
We talked a few weeks ago about how neither one of us sleep well at night. Why is that? Because
we got the stress on
we
us,
got the
man.
stress on we got the stress of the world on our shoulders that we don't even want to share with our partners or our children, not because we don't trust them or not because we want to hide things, but because I don't want to burden you with something that I know I can fix.
Right.
I'm betting on myself, you my teammate, but I know I can fix this, but I don't need both of us to stress.
Correct.
But that order right there is 100%. I had a homeboy of mine, he's a pastor.
Yeah.
We were going to his church for a while, and shout out to Ambassador Church, it was a good guy, Pastor Jared Cole.
Yeah.
We were going there, and he has said, the husband is the head of the household.
Right.
And other pastors have said that. And I mean, it's just the truth. That's not me saying, my thing is we're 50-50 partners.
Right.
I tell my wife all the time, you the CEO of the house. If you want this to look like this, okay, cool. Only thing I care about a couple minor things in the house.
Right.
But I'm gonna make sure everything gets in here properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I definitely need that. I need that respect. I need home to be peace.
Yes.
And that's all most men want.
That's all we want, man. And with that being said, what we decided to do, I mentioned it either the last cast or throughout random casts that we did, that we reach out, or people reach out to us, we let them know what's going on. They'll shoot some feedback back to us. So there's some people of ours, some supporters of the cast, friends of ours that we reached out to and mentioned what today's topic was going to be. And they gave us some feedback that I've been allowed to read on air. So the first one, shout out to DB. He said, fathers don't share the requirements for maintaining consistency in their actions. We need praise or acknowledgement for what we do as fathers. This lack of communication prevents men from being receptive to feedback and accountability from women, which we don't mind. However, men don't communicate the importance of recognition. This creates a cycle that is unsustainable for both parties. What's your take on that?
Repeat the last part, because that part stuck out the most to me.
Okay.
The communication piece.
The lack of communication prevents men from being receptive to feedback and accountability from women, which we don't mind. However, men don't communicate the importance of recognition. This creates a cycle that is unsustainable for both parties. That
last statement DB made is something I kind of touched on briefly. We don't speak on the recognition piece because we all feel like, you see what I do, why can't you just acknowledge me?
Right.
Like Roman Reigns, it's you acknowledge me. I show up 365. Why do I got to tell you to recognize me? Because if I have to speak on it, if I have to communicate that to you, then that means when you do show appreciation, you said this maybe on our first or second cast, it doesn't feel genuine. Mm-hmm. So if I have to tell you how to appreciate me, you really don't appreciate me. You're doing it to appease me. Right. And that's why men don't communicate. So it's not genuine. Right. We feel like because the thing is, anything I do, like if I notice you like green, or you like, the Indiana Pacers, and I see Indiana Pacers hoodie that I'm like, oh man, AD like that. And I just do it on the strength, that's gonna mean more to you than you having this conversation with me saying, man, I really want a Pacers hoodie, and then I go grab you one. Right. It'll still be appreciated. Right. But I think it'll mean more if it was just something that was done genuine because I noticed that you like this. And I think most men just like the genuineness, because for me it's a small things type deal. Yeah. And I don't feel as if I should have to communicate to show me to give me recognition that I've earned. off my
You
actions.
should want to give it anyway if
Yes.
you feel like it's deserved. Like,
Yes.
like we said, we don't want to be the root of people's negative thoughts and bad moments. We try to build on that to make positivity up out of it.
Correct.
So it should be reciprocated in all angles, man. I'm talking whether it's home, work, whatever. We talking about people that we care about. It should be a domino effect.
Correct.
So now we have another from Aldous B. Shout out to Aldous, appreciate the comment. He said the statistic in the Black community is that 80% of all children are born to single mothers. So if the father is not involved like we are with our kids, that gives the mother the advantages. He said he does feel the type of way that, you know, the children's mother gets more attention for Mother's Day than he does, you know, and he probably needs to have that conversation with his children. And he said, as men, we are just expected to do and not have feelings. And that's where our mental health is challenged.
Again, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Like, what makes one parent more dominant than the other?
Right.
You know, I don't care if they grew up in the same household or not. Like, ultimately, do the same for one as you would do the other. And the fact that, you know, men aren't celebrated, it kills me. You know, it's just one of those things where, you know,
we look at it less than.
Yeah, because the thing is, for all this to say, he probably needs to have a conversation with his children, and me knowing he's an involved father,
and they grown,
and they adult children. It's like we're not talking about, you know, teens or preteens. We're talking about adult children that are in their 20s and some 30s that still can't grasp the concept of celebrating your father while he's here,
that we can relate to.
And speaking from two people that no longer have their fathers, like, you don't know how badly I would kill to be able to talk to my father.
Right.
You know, like, just to be able to have a conversation. There's so many things right now that, like, I feel lost on just when I have my struggles of having my person that I went to, my OG, you know, like, because the truth be told, especially for young men, your mother can't raise you to be a man, bro. You got your daddy for that.
Right.
And sometimes we as men, we have a harsher delivery to our kids, especially our sons, and they don't want to hear the real. They want to be coddled.
Right.
And I think a lot of, and this is going to go off topic, but I know in our age demographic, a lot of us as parents, we are contributing to the baby boy syndrome.
Yeah.
You know, we coddle our kids. We overcompensate as parents to our kids, that whether it be we got guilt for things that we did as younger parents, and maybe we want to try to be better now. But no, once my kids got grown, hey, the world ain't easy, bro. I'm here to guide you. I'll help you along the way. But I'm not spoiling no grown person.
Right.
You got to get it out the mud like I did. But you're gonna have better advantages because I've given you game that wasn't given to me. I've afforded you a better platform than I was afforded. But I'm not gonna sacrifice more of my life,
right, to
make your life easier anymore.
Right.
That's dead.
Right. And for the record, Aldous also, much like yourself, raised by his father. So when you talk about meaning Father's Day, and from someone that sacrificed everything and put into you from that same standpoint, you know, that's one thing you guys both have in common. Everybody knows I was raised by my mother. So the final person that we have chiming in was, you know what I'm saying, we have another good friend of ours, Al Pete, and asked him his opinion. And he really put a bunch of questions as well as some statements I thought was very unique. He said, how do we know Father's Day has a lack of hoopla? Could it be connected to what men want versus what women want? Women want spa days, jewelry, flowers. Men want tools, gift cards, food. When the family breaks up, do men tend to look at the children and the women as the package? Or do fathers stay active in children's lives? Do we feel Father's Day has a lack of hoopla, or do we know? Men want respect from children and women want love from children. Shout out to Al.
Honestly, I don't disagree with Al, but who said we want tools and stuff for the gifts? You know, like, I mean, I want a spa day, my nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna hold you. You know, I need a pedicure right now. Like, I want to, you know, like, the thing is that.
What are you talking about? General perception.
Yeah, I know. I'm just joking. But I think my thing is
walkie drill.
Right. It's a walkie tool, nigga. we know who need tools. But no, my thing is, yeah, I think the deeper part of Al's statement is nobody's asking us what we want.
Right.
It's always an assumption.
Yeah.
It's an assumption that we're good. It's an assumption that we're going to handle it. It's an assumption that the father doesn't care as much about the holiday because the fathers they don't need to be celebrated. It's an assumption that our mental health is great. That's why there's such a taboo about men speaking on mental health. It's all assumptions, bro. So that right there just lets me know that, it needs to be more conversation. It needs to be more of the, hey, how are you doing today, dad, husband, son, or whoever. It needs to be more of that than less assuming that we are okay. Because I can tell you there's certain days that we aren't. And you had said it a few weeks ago that there was a Thursday that you just knew it was going to be a rough day for you.
Yeah.
And you're entitled to that. But the thing is, some days you're not going to know why it's heavy, but you need to have that support around you where you don't feel like you always on the edge of one wrong move or one wrong mood, and now people don't want to deal with you no more because you're only as good as you can do. And I guarantee you that is 80% of the men out here that's out here surviving. We aren't living, guys. We are surviving. So what I want to do is make sure that we get to a point as we have these open and healthy discussions that we get to a point where we're not surviving, we're thriving.
And with that being said, now rhetorical question here.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned it earlier. If you, and I'm going back to what Alda said, even talking about having these conversations. If you celebrate yours 365, ain't no conversations to be had.
None.
You know what you need, or they know what you want, they know what you need, because really it's bigger than just something material. It's about the love and the emotion. When there's an emotional attachment between you and your children, or you and whoever you're trying to celebrate, and when we'll say children, we talk about Father's Day. When there's emotional attachment, certain things mean nothing. And when I say mean nothing, I'm talking about, okay, you didn't buy me this for Father's Day, whatever. That don't mean nothing no more.
Right.
Because I know how you feel about me. I know you love me. All other days of the year, you making sure I'm good. You saying, how was my day? Like my daughter does that very well every day. How was your day? Like clockwork. Means the world to me. I tell her, thanks for asking.
People don't understand how much that means.
It means a lot, man. It means a lot. So when you got that, when a person doesn't give you certain things on certain times of the year, whatever, you really bypass it. Like, I know how they feel about me. I ain't tripping.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? No different than us being guys, being bros. If a person don't acknowledge you on a certain day, you're not tripping because you know how they really feel about you.
Yeah, because it's been consistent.
It's been consistent, man. But you got one damn day.
Yeah.
And I ain't talking about birthdays either. Just one damn day, and you can't even acknowledge that. Yeah. Keep what you got.
Yeah,
I don't want what you're selling.
That's a problem, man. That's a huge problem.
So what I'm trying to do mentally, I'm working on disconnection. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm working on disconnection emotionally because it's been too much.
But is that fair to you?
Yeah.
If you, okay, and I know we don't got much time, so we probably can touch on this one next week, because I'm very interested in that. Because I will say this, and then we can, move forward with the end. But like, I think that the fact of, because I was a very disconnected person my entire life up until the last couple of years, and that's why I'm like so into this discussion, because like when you disconnect, you live in an alternative reality where it's like you've accepted receiving less from people to protect yourself.
Well, when I say disconnect, not from that standpoint, I mean disconnect from those that really have disconnected from me.
Okay, so like, but let's keep it in the family though.
Okay.
So if you feel like your family isn't giving you what you deserve, what you've earned, how do you disconnect from that?
Well, the emotion of that, like, first of all, okay, I can't disconnect from my wife, obviously.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We run the household together, like we're a team.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else outside that circle, man, the picture of disconnect is just
minimized.
Man, catch you when I catch you.
Okay, I misunderstood you there.
Because it's been rough, long roads And I've demonstrated that with people that weren't family as well,
Mhm.
with people I
Same.
looked at as family.
Same.
And it wasn't easy because I held them to a high standard. I did more for them than I would do for some other people, things like that. Then I say, you know what? I do feel better after. I don't wish them no ill will, but I can't keep getting slapped in the face and kicked in between the nuts and everything like that,
Right,
man.
right.
Like as if it don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
I can't keep allowing that.
I hear you.
But then you sit there with your hand out when it's your time, when it's my time, it means nothing. So I don't know how much time I got left on this earth. God willing, I wake up and see tomorrow. God willing, I make it home safe when we leave the studio.
Yeah.
I don't have time to be fiddling around with people, waiting for them to decide am I appreciated or not, or how they feel about me. Your actions demonstrated, so we're just gonna expedite this whole little process.
I like that.
Then I can go on my business, you go on your business, because this is the route you made for yourself. And I'm on a point right now where my peace is what I need.
Peace is not negotiable.
Man, I got things I got to take care of that's important to me. The moment I said I do, my wife became no more priority.
Yep.
So that's top of my priority. Everything else, my granddaughter who lives with us, other than everything else,
that has to come secondary.
Man,
like Pastor said,
close.
Is God, Christ, your family.
Right.
You know, and when I say the family, it's you and your wife.
Right.
Everybody else comes under that. And I think a lot of people miss that boat. You know, they don't understand that whole concept.
Right.
That's why there's so much discord in relationships now.
Right.
But no, definitely, we got some work to do, y'all.
And not to cut you off, man, but just to throw this little last part in, man, we had a conversation off air last time we got together in the studio. We was talking about just marriage. And I mentioned to you, you know, conversation about vow renewals and things like that. Look, man, I can't do none of that until the peace gets into play.
I hear you.
I wouldn't mind doing any of that, man, but the peace has to come for me and my wife because she's my number one priority.
Yep.
And once I got that peace in play for me and her both, because sometimes I wonder if she's waiting on me to put the peace in play, especially as the man.
Right.
I got a problem doing that. But once that's in play, man, there's so many things that I want to do with her, for her, because that's my responsibility that I take pride in. You know, I got to get rid of the non-peaceful aspects in my life. And people don't look at me I got too many people that look at me in a positive way.
Right.
Oh, well, your loss. No harm, no foul. And that's the method.
One last thing, just because it's June and it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, reach out if you need assistance. There are 80% of the suicides that are reported in the United States are by men. So don't take mental health lightly, guys. You know, you are worth more, you're valued, and we want you here. But y'all gotta really reach out and talk to somebody. Like my man said, that's the method.